It's going down. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rechakwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of It's Going Down, being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Two shortages that threaten to absolutely eviscerate the global economy in the year 2022. So just real quick, eviscerate. Okay, so eviscerate, disembowel a person.
Eviscerate.
Deprive something of its essential content. Now, when you look up the word essential, it means vitally important. So the global economy, there are two shortages that threatens to deprive the global economy of its essential content. So, let's go back to the BLB. We'll go ahead and read some of this. As we move forward into February and beyond, there are two key global shortages that we are going to want to keep a very close eye on. One of them is the rapidly growing fertilizer shortage. It says a few days ago, the Wall Street Journal ominously warned that high fertilizer prices are weighing on farmers across the developing world. Right? And we know that most commonly food comes from where? The farmers. So this fertilizer shortage can also lead to a widespread famine across the globe. From South America's avocado, corn, coffee farms to Southeast Asia's plantations of coconuts and oil palms, high fertilizer prices are weighing on farmers across the developing world, making it much costlier to cultivate and forcing many to cut back on production. You see that? That means a cut back on producing food, right? And if that happens, that's going to cause prices to soar in the stores. Because the less there is of something, the higher they're going to have to raise the prices on it so it stays on the shelf longer. That means grocery bills could go up even more in 2022, following a year which global food prices rose to decade highs. An uptick would exacerbate hunger, already acute in some parts of the world because of blase linked job losses, and thwart efforts by politicians and central bankers to subdue inflation. According to the International Fertilizer Development Center, exceedingly high fertilizer prices could result in a reduction of agriculture output in Africa alone, equivalent to the food needs of 100 million people. Check that out. A famine. And yes, this is a really big deal. Now let's check out the other one. The other major shortage that I wanted to highlight in this article is the ongoing computer, you see the word right there, shortage. The computer CHIP shortage. Now, just real quick before I continue, right? Because who the world calls Jesus, he prophesied of these events. He prophesied that these kind of things would happen in the last days, which we are living in the last days. So these are the words of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Matthew 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. When you look up this word diverse, it means manifold. In many different places, there's going to be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So a lot of people's about to be sorrowful because of the major shortage of fertilizer, which is needed by farmers to produce food. So here it says, according to a report that was just put out by the Department of Commerce, CHIP inventories around the nation have become dangerously thin. I wonder why. Maybe because these different corporations are too busy developing these CHIPs to put inside of, you know what, to put inside of the masses of the population. And a lot of these CHIPs you're going to find inside of the CHIP technology. As small as a grain of rice, which can be inserted into the body, which is the MOTB. Marketing, you know what. I'm not going to say the whole thing because these pussies are already getting offended at what the hell is being said. The cowards that work for the U.S. government. That's what I'm speaking of. Today, the United States Department of Commerce released the results of the risk of the semiconductor supply chain request for information, RFI, issued in September 2021. Key findings from the report provided data-driven information about the depths of the semiconductor shortage and underscored the need for the president proposed $52 billion in domestic semiconductor production. The RFI showed that the median inventory held by CHIPS consumers, including automakers or medical device manufacturers as examples, has fallen from 40 days in 2019 to less than 5 days in 2021. Okay. If a pestilence outbreak, a natural disaster, or political instability disrupts a foreign semiconductor facility for even just a few weeks, it has the potential to shut down the manufacturing facility in the United States, putting American workers and their families at risk. Check that out. So a lot is happening in the news here. Which leads me to this scripture right here. Isaiah chapter 47 verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. The dust represents confusion. This is going to cause a lot of confusion here. A lot of people are going to be confused, like, wait a minute, America was once one of the greatest food producing countries in the world, and now, without this fertilizer, now store shelves are going empty. Food truckers are going on strikes. Food prices are soaring. And this is going to cause riots. It's going to cause protests. And in response, that's going to cause the U.S. government to deploy the National Guard or the UN troops, which is the NWO army of the NWO, to keep you protesters and you rioters in check. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Now, excuse me. With that being said, let's go here to the King James Bible. 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 5. 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, I will bring plagues upon the world. So these plagues are going to come upon the globe. the entire globe, right? And let's see what it lists here. This is a prophecy written in the Old Testament in a book called or known as the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Old Testament. So these prophecies were written even before who the world calls Jesus came on the scene. Behold, save the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. I will bring plagues upon the world. The sword, famine. What? The Lord's going to bring famine upon the world? Yeah. Death and destruction. So that's what we're seeing here. Okay? The Lord is bringing plagues upon the world. So with that, I'm going to say, Shalom is on to the next one.